lot of money, yes. But Meghan Markle's not...
Who are absolutely desperate for attention. I wouldn't be surprised if the Duchess of Sussex is...
The whispers began at a glittering Hollywood fundraiser, the kind where diamonds sparkle brighter than the chandeliers and every smile hides a dagger. The champagne was ice cold, the perfume was suffocating, and the quiet judgment in the room could cut glass. Meghan Markle walked in dressed for a comeback. An off-the-shoulder gown clung to her like a second skin, daring the world to say she wasn't still relevant. Her diamond drop earrings, big enough to pay off a nation's debt. She looked every inch the star she wanted the world to see. But the real show wasn't happening on the red carpet. It was unfolding inside the velvet ropes of the VIP lounge. And there, sitting in her throne-like booth, martini in hand, was the Kris Jenner, the mother, the manager, the architect of the Kardashian empire. If Hollywood had a Vatican, Kris was the Pope.
Released another Napa Valley rosé for her As Ever lifestyle brand, and she made sure to send a few samples to a couple of her friends. Momager.
Now here's the tea. Meghan's team had been circling the Kardashians for months. Not because Meghan was desperate for more Instagram followers, though let's be real, she wouldn't mind, but because Meghan understood a brutal truth. In America, the Kardashians are the royal family. Forget Buckingham Palace. They have Calabasas. Forget crowns. They've got contour kits. And if you want to dominate headlines without being ripped apart, there's only one gatekeeper. Her name? Kris Jenner. But Meghan wasn't walking into this as an equal. Kris Jenner doesn't do equals. She does protégés, pawns, or people she can profit from. Meghan wanted an alliance, a PR cosign, maybe even an Instagram story with Kim. But what she got instead was a cold slap that froze the room.
The British royal family, all the racism claims, all the desperate desire to bring down the British monarchy was all for this? For this? Meghan Markle overnight.
Witnesses swear Meghan leaned in with that polished, lawyer-like charm she perfected back in her Suits days. She was smiling, sparkling, trying to sell Kris on the power of women teaming up to inspire the world. But Kris? Kris wasn't buying it. She swirled her martini, locked eyes with Meghan, and with a voice as sharp as broken glass, dropped a line that exploded across Hollywood by morning. "You're no Kim." Boom. 4 words. That's all it took. Now, for most people, not being Kim Kardashian would be a blessing. It means you've avoided being memed into oblivion for crying on TV or roasted for flying a private jet just to grab a salad. But in Kris Jenner's universe, that wasn't a compliment. It was a dismissal, a verdict. In her world, Kim isn't just a daughter. She's the dynasty, the prototype, the proof that scandal plus strategy equals empire. Meghan, on the other hand, just a former actress with a Netflix deal and a royal husband whose crown had been gathering dust. The whole lounge froze. Witnesses say Meghan's eyes flickered from sparkle to steel in 3 seconds flat. She laughed it off, sure, saying something about carving her own path, but insiders swear you could feel the sting ripple through her entire body. Kris had cut her down without breaking a sweat or spilling a drop of vodka.
Is that right in your view?
You know, I would probably repeat this and attribute it to someone else.
And here's where it gets delicious. This wasn't just some offhand remark. No, Kris had been wary of Meghan for a while. She sees Meghan as unpredictable, someone who wants the spotlight but not the grind, the fame but not the accountability. And in Kris's world, that's dangerous. Because let's not forget, Kris is the woman who turned a leaked tape into a billion-dollar empire. She thrives in chaos. She doesn't run from bad press. She monetizes it. And Meghan? Meghan disappears the moment headlines turn sour. To Kris, that's weakness. By the time Meghan left the table, her smile looked like it was super glued on. She air-kissed Kris, posed for the charity cameras, and floated out of the building like nothing happened. But inside, insiders say she was boiling. By the next morning, "You're no Kim" was being whispered across Hollywood like it was the new "Bless Your Heart." And Meghan? Oh, she wasn't about to let that stand. Behind the scenes, her PR machine roared to life. Glossy magazine pitches suddenly appeared. Lifestyle photo shoots, airy California kitchens, interviews about curating her brand, rumors of a wellness line, a fashion collab, a podcast with A-list guests. But let's be honest, they were all Kim's lanes. It was as if Meghan said, "Fine, I'm no Kim. Watch me run Kim's playbook better than Kim herself." But Hollywood isn't Buckingham Palace. You can't just stage photos and drop a documentary. Hollywood is brutal, relentless, And Kris didn't just close the Kardashian gates to Meghan, she locked them, double-bolted them, and threw away the key. That meant no Kardashian cameos, no product collabs, no scandal into sponsorship mentorship. Meghan might have been royalty in Windsor, but in Calabasas, she was just another celebrity trying to cut the line. Her team scrambled, floating stories about choosing meaningful work and aligning with her values, which in Hollywood code translates to, I didn't get what I wanted, so I'm pretending I never wanted it. But behind closed doors, Meghan was livid, furious. Kris's words weren't just an insult, they were a death blow to her Hollywood strategy. Meghan had been positioning herself as a hybrid of activism and glamour. Not Oprah, not Kim, something in between. But without that Kris Jenner stamp of approval, she was stuck in limbo. And the cruelest part? Friends of Kris say she might have considered helping Meghan if she'd come with more humility. More, what can I do for you? And less, here's what you can do for me. But Meghan's track record, burned bridges, high-profile feuds, sudden disappearances, didn't exactly scream team player. Now the whole Hollywood elite was watching like it was their favorite Netflix series. Because if there's one thing everyone knows about Meghan Markle, it's this. She does not take a public snub lightly. And if there's one thing everyone knows about Kris Jenner, it's this. She always plays the long game, and she always wins. People close to Meghan revealed that night was torture for her. She replayed Kris's words over and over in her head like a cruel broken record. And the thing is, she didn't just hear, "You're no Kim." She heard, "You'll never be Kim." That's not shade. That's a total eclipse. Because let's face it, Meghan's PR playbook lately has been nothing short of the Kardashian starter kit. Lifestyle branding? Check. Camera-ready philanthropy? Check. Leaked gossip to blogs to stir the pot? Double check. But Kris's cutting remark was the equivalent of saying, "Sweetheart, you're not even junior varsity." And don't think for a second this was accidental. Kris Jenner doesn't slip. This is the woman who turned scandals into seven-figure sponsorships, who transformed Kylie's lip kits into a billion-dollar empire. If Kris wanted to keep things polite, she would have. That wasn't a throwaway jab. That was a verbal guillotine. Insiders swear Meghan tried to recover in real time. She leaned in, laughed softly, and said something like, "Well, I think Kim and I are very different people." But Kris didn't even flinch. She just gave her trademark nod, you know, that subtle little head tilt that screams dismissal, and turned her attention back to her martini, and just like that, Meghan Markle had been erased from Kris Jenner's mental guest list. Brutal. Witnesses say Meghan's charm cracked right then. The Hollywood gloss disappeared, replaced by the Duchess scanning the room desperately, trying to salvage her dignity by latching onto someone, anyone, who would validate her celebrity clout. She floated toward Oprah, tried to slide into conversations with a few power players. But guess what? Word travels faster than champagne at these events. By the time Meghan reached them, everyone already knew about Kris's forward takedown. Suddenly, Meghan wasn't the glamorous Duchess. She was the night's walking headline. The very next morning, gossip blogs detonated. Dumois dropped a blind item about a former royal who got verbally bodied by a reality TV matriarch. Page 6 ran a sly piece about how Kris Jenner had no current plans to work with Meghan. And TMZ? Oh, TMZ had a field day. Panic set in. Meghan summoned her PR team for an emergency war room meeting. The mission? Reclaim the narrative before Kris's comment tattooed itself on her Hollywood reputation forever. But here's where it gets awkward. Someone on her team suggested leaning into the feud. Milk it for publicity. Play it like Kim versus Taylor, or Kim versus Paris Hilton. But Meghan hated that idea. To her, it wasn't just tacky, it was beneath her. Competing with a Kardashian? Please. She wanted to be seen as above that world. But here's the cruel irony. Meghan was trying to win the Kardashian game while pretending she wasn't even playing. And Kris, she'd been running this playbook for decades. She knew exactly what Meghan was doing, and exactly how to shut it down. In the weeks that followed, Meghan tried every back channel possible to reconnect with Kardashian-adjacent circles. Stylists, publicists, photographers, event planners, and every single one of them politely declined. It was like Kris Jenner had issued a silent industry-wide, "We're full" memo. And here's the thing, she didn't need to repeat herself. In Hollywood, once Kris Jenner says no, the entire machine listens. Meanwhile, Prince Harry, sweet, clueless Harry, was trying to soothe his wife. Insiders say he told her, "Well, you don't need to be Kim. You're you." Lovely sentiment, sure. But Meghan didn't want comfort. She wanted credibility. She wanted Kris Jenner's respect, and she wasn't getting it. So what did Meghan do? She doubled down. The very next month, Meghan staged a pap-ready restaurant outing in Beverly Hills. Oversized sunglasses, statement coat, designer bag held at the perfect angle. She wanted to send a message. I'm still here, I'm still relevant, and I can play this game. But the internet is merciless. Side-by-side photos began circulating online. Meghan's look versus Kim's iconic street-style moments. The verdict? Kim had done it better, every time. Before long, "You're no Kim" wasn't just a private insult whispered at a party. It became a full-blown cultural meme. TikTok creators reenacted the scene. Twitter threads ranked Meghan's celebrity tier level. Instagram reels mocked her pap walks. And Kris? She was spotted out with Kim, laughing over lunch like the queen of shade she is. No statements, no interviews, just pure silent dominance. And here's the devastating truth. Kris Jenner doesn't need Meghan Markle. Not for ratings, not for drama, not for brand deals. But Meghan, whether she admits it or not, she needed Kris. She needed that Kardashian cosign to rocket into the highest stratosphere of celebrity culture. Without it, her entire LA strategy had a gaping hole in the middle. Now, Hollywood insiders say Meghan is scrambling to redirect. More charity partnerships, more interviews about authenticity, more pap strolls styled to scream effortless glamour. But no matter how hard she tries, Kris Jenner's words are now trailing behind her like an unshakable ghost. Because let's face it, in Hollywood, perception is power. And when the high priestess of fame management declares you'll never be Kardashian-level material, the rest of the industry takes note. 4 little words, that's all it took. You're no Kim. And just like that, Meghan Markle's Hollywood fairy tale cracked wide open.